name is Kirsten Winkler, this is EDUKWEST, and together we are on the search for better education. And today I'm very happy that my guest is Bernhard Niesner, co-founder of the online language learning community Busuu.com. Bernhard, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, hi Kirsten. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a pleasure as well.
Okay, as always, would you please give my viewers a short overview about your personal background and what led to the launch of Busuu?
Well, my name is Bernhard Niesner, and I'm one of the co-founders of Busuu.com. In total, we are two founders of this language learning community. I'm 30 years old. I'm born in Vienna, in Austria. And we started to launch the website actually in May 2008. And the whole idea of Busuu.com was generated during an MBA we did here in Spain, in Instituto de Empresa, which is a business school here in Spain. And my partner and myself at that time, we were both as well improving our Spanish. And we were always asking ourselves, why does it need to be so difficult and boring if you have to do it with grammar books or just by yourself sitting at home? And at the same time, we had to write a business plan in order to finish our MBA. So there came the idea, why not to connect Web 2.0 tools with language learning, and the idea of Busuu.com was born.
Mm-hmm. And that's very interesting because it leads to my next question. At that time, did you know of other language learning communities like iTalki, LiveMocha or Babbel already? And did you say we can do that better? Or was the idea basically based on your personal needs, what you just said, and the potential you saw in the language learning market?
Yeah, well, first, before answering your question, I would like just to say hello to your cat as well. I think she just joined the web meeting. It's a pleasure to have her there as well. So, basically, that's interesting because apparently good ideas appear several times around the world. And when we had the idea of Busuu.com, we did a lot of research about other existing websites, because obviously this was part of our MBA case to make a competitive research, and we didn't find any of them. And then we started to write the business plan, to go more deeper into the concept. And then, obviously, we got surprised by the launch, for example, of LiveMocha. Mm-hmm. But still, I personally think that we just said, okay, it doesn't really matter, because the idea by itself is good, and still we absolutely believe that there is not going to be just only one language learning community out there. We absolutely believe that each of those communities, and they have done a very great job and have really shown the whole industry where is the way to go. So there is the potential for more language learning communities, and we basically went our way. And then along this way, other language learning communities were launched. Some of them quite successfully, other not as much. So it was basically, I think, absolutely coincidence. But at the same time, I think that the launch or the success of Facebook might have led to the launch of such language learning communities, because it was among the mind of many people of that Facebook has just made something revolutionary, and a lot of people thought of how to combine these Web 2.0 communities with other fields, and in our case it was language learning.
Mm-hmm. And first part that is interesting to me is why you opted for community, or for the community-based model, and not for the teacher-driven platform model, like, let's say, Mingle or EduFire. And second question, why restricted to languages, at least at the moment? So that is what my knowledge is about.
Well, regarding the first question, I think it was twofold. First of all, at that time, we just had the idea of offering a platform which offers the possibility of individual learning. So creating online material where you can use it by yourself, being completely flexible with schedule, with time, and so on. So like the typical opportunities or advantages we offer, or other language learning communities offer, that you don't have to fix a certain time, you don't have to move yourself to see another teacher. So it was from the beginning more based on the fact of individual learning together with the possibility of improving your skills with native speakers from the community. And the second point was that at that time, not many of those web meeting platforms or web meeting technologies were so advanced. I think that especially in our field, in the language learning industry, there was a huge advancement in the last years, and platforms like WizIQ, I think, just have made a great product where you can see as well how this works. So basically, I think that at the time when we launched Busuu.com, the technology was not that far. So I think it was a combination of those two factors.
Okay. And whereas we see Live Mocha, for example, is constantly adding new languages to their portfolio, let's say, but based on crowdsourced translations of their standard course. And then Busuu started with English, Spanish, French, and German. And since then, you stuck to that. So are you planning to extend your offer, or are you targeting a defined market?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to announce for the first time that we're going to launch Italian by the end of the week. So we have just finished the translation of our existing course, and we're going to offer Italian by this Friday. So that's first. And second, yeah, we started as well to look into crowdsourcing, but we wanted to see whether the whole business of what we're doing here makes sense with the 4 major languages. And we always thought, okay, if you're not able to make money and pay our bills with selling packages of English or of Spanish, I don't think this is going to work out with Swedish or Norwegian, because simply the market is just smaller.
Sure.
So as we have now proved that people actually really like our premium packages and we have a lot of subscribers, we now start to look into different languages. But still, the fact of using crowdsourcing is quite a difficult topic, as we already have discussed. And because we don't want to offer, let's say, bad quality. Our intention always was to have excellent quality, which you have to pay loads of money, and you can get it either completely for free or at a quite affordable price at Busuu.com. So we now start to look into Portuguese, and we have started crowdsourcing by last week, and we have already, I think, about 50 Brazilians who signed up to be crowdsourcing translators, and we look into that. And it seems to work out, and it's quite a sophisticated system where you have to vote for the right translation and so on. But of course, we need to see whether at the end it really makes sense to spend a lot of development time and checking of the crowdsourced content, or simply to contract an additional professional translator. But for the time being, it looks pretty well, and we will definitely see into that. And if everything goes on like this and the people support us, we might be able to launch Portuguese within some month.
Well, then, congratulations first, of course, for the Italian course, and then let's hope the best for the Portuguese course as well. During your presentation on last ETCon, you said that high quality in-house developed content is, for the moment at least, the key for the success of Busuu. And Live Mocha and Babel seem to build their business more and more on material from, let's say, classic publishers like Pearson and also HarperCollins, basically converting offline course books into online interactive exercises. And do you think this is a way to go, or do you plan something similar for Busuu as well?
Well, I first think that it's very important that you have to have the hand on the quality content. I mean, if you're not able to create high quality content as a language learning platform, I think you're simply in the wrong business. So just outsourcing the content creation, I think is not the way to go, at least in our case. But definitely, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not an interesting option as well to offer professionally, or let's say from traditional publishing companies, to offer their material as well on Busuu.com. But it's something, I think for the time being, we are very happy with our material, and the users, I mean, they have proven us right in just being very happy with our additional premium material as well.
Busuu is a very colorful and playful website, and when I first saw it, my impression was, and what I also wrote on my blog, is that I thought you built it for a younger audience, but according to your data, what you mentioned a little bit on your presentation on ETCon, is that Busuu is also very popular in the age group of 50 to 70 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And did this surprise you? Was it planned? How did you target at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you launch a Web 2.0 company, at first you think that your target group is the typical Facebook user being 25 years old. But then, I mean, looking a little bit more into the data and thinking as well, I mean, when is the time really when you learn a new language? And normally, and you probably as a teacher know it quite well, it's probably between the time when you're still studying, let's say from 16 to 25. Mm-hmm. But once you enter into the working life, it's really tough to learn another language. And unless you are really forced by a change of job, or having a foreign wife or girlfriend, or whatever reason, normally you don't do it. But then again, there comes a certain point of time in life where you have more time, and that's simply the fact of the 50 plus people. Mm-hmm. Either they're retired or they're not so stressed anymore in their job, so they really have the time and the interest because they like to travel again, and to acquire new languages, and suddenly that's a really interesting group, which we didn't think at the beginning. But right now, especially among our premium users as well, we see a lot of people who are prepared to pay for such material, because I mean, we offer our premium courses starting from €9 a month. And honestly, obviously, for somebody who is 25 and who is a student and who is used to the fact that everything on the internet is completely for free, mm-hmm. he would think it twice. But for somebody who has a good salary or is already retired, I mean, €9 a month is not really the big amount of money to spend. So the probability to pay, the propensity to pay is just higher at that age group. Mm-hmm. And we really, I mean, when we figured that out, we made some changes as well on the website, just to make it easier as well for older people. So we improved our usability, we made it more simple to use our site, and at the end of the day, I mean, we want to serve everybody, but we see that, which was interesting as well, a lot of people just come to Busuu to teach other users, because as you know, you have this writing exercises where you post the writing exercise in a different language and the native speaker correct you. And it's really amazing that we have people who are 60, 65 years old and spend hours. I once visited one of our power users in Vienna, and she spends up to 6 hours a day on Busuu just correcting other people. And probably if you are 25, you don't do that. So it's just like this sense of helping others. I think it's maybe as well, like if you're a little bit older, you donate more and give more away to the community as well.
It's a very, very different and very interesting look on this whole question I was asking myself. Yeah. Okay, very good. In the time we both know each other, and from our talks, I got more and more the impression that you quite knew, or quite exactly knew from the beginning where you want to go with Busuu. And of course you implemented new features, and what you just said, modified a couple of things about usability, and also I think based on the feedback you get from your very active community. but there seems to be a leitmotif you don't change at all. And could you please tell us what this is?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. A motif I don't change at all?
Yeah, whereas I sometimes have the impression that others modify their plans or change their plans more. Busuu seems to be very consistent from the beginning, so there's not a lot of change. And so basically, what is the leitmotif? What is really the mantra from the beginning?
I mean, honestly, I really think that Busuu is kind of quite of honest community. I mean, we made this community a little bit for ourselves as well. And me and my partner, Adrian, I mean, we spend basically 80, 90 hours a week just dedicating ourselves to this website. And I think it's really something that you can see on the website as well. I mean, we designed it in the way that we are having fun learning languages. So we use it by ourselves in order to like try it out all the time. And if there's a feature, I mean, we just launch a feature which we like by ourselves. And maybe I think the guidance behind all our stuff, like recently we launched the Busuu Berries, which is a kind of a motivational system which you can get and so on. That's something which, I mean, comes out of our minds or the mind of our team. And I think that's very important. I mean, starting a company and this typical story of just launching a website and then becoming a millionaire after some years, I mean, that's not our intention. It's obviously, it's nice if one day we can make money with what we're doing right now, but still, the idea still has been that we wanted to create something which we like by ourselves. And I think that's the authenticity which is shown by our products.
I think it definitely is, and everybody has to make a living, but honesty and, as you said, authenticity, and I think also the happy community is the backbone of Busuu, and this seems to be kind of obvious, but I think only a few companies on the online education market manage to build a real, let's call it, tribe at the moment. When Busuu was nominated on the short list of the TechCrunch Awards, hundreds of Busuu members left a comment on the TechCrunch blog to show their support for you. And they not only anonymously voted, so they wanted to share their enthusiasm for Busuu with others. And what do you make or how do you keep your community happy and loyal?
Yeah, I mean, that's really a good point, and I don't know whether this can be planned at all. I mean, I think it's very difficult to plan this within a brand. But what we try to do from the beginning to build kind of a story around Busuu.com. I mean, it starts with the name. I mean, it's a name from Cameroon, from a language from Cameroon spoken by only 8 people, for example. It's the whole thing about this language garden, that each language you learn is you plant a tree and the tree grows according to your effort you put into it. For example, now the Busuu Berries, it's still something playful, and we're the only community actually where you don't just get points or credits for yourself, you can actually share it with your friends, so you can give it away, which is, I think, something which as well is in the light of Busuu. I mean, it's not about just like yourself, it's a giving and taking. And that's the idea, or that's the impression, what we have, that those kind of people who like that, and not necessarily all the people need to like that. And for some people it might be too childish or whatever, but the people who like it, they're really loyal. And I mean, we launched the Busuu Berries recently, and we got so many emails about I want more berries, or where are my berries going, whatever. So people really stick to those kind of things, and that's very nice and beautiful to see. So I think it's something that the whole community needs to be stimulated as well continuously. I mean, we did, for example, this viral campaign to rescue a nearly extinct language, the Silvo Gomero from the Gomera Island, where we won this, we won a silver lion of the marketing festival in Cannes. So it's again something which I think adds on to the feeling of this community, and we want to continuously surprise our users. So a user of Busuu.com, he has to get the feeling that this community is living, and it's not just a product where people try to get out money out of you, but it's just rather something where it's playful and fun to learn a new language. That's our vision.
So talking about the living community, how active are they? I mean, you told us the story of one of your hardcore members, but let's say the average user, and do you already have some nice success stories maybe to tell us so that people achieved their goals by learning over Busuu?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in our case, what we got the impression that we acquire users easily. So users sign on a lot with Busuu.com, and that's why our community is growing so much, even if we don't have the big budget behind, because we are completely bootstrapped and we don't have any external investor by now. But our community is just growing because it seems to be very appealing to people, and it has a nice feeling. But then, obviously, everybody makes its own choice, no? And some people will like this new way of language learning, and others won't, and they will either stick to traditional forms of learning or go to our other websites which are there on the market. But I see definitely that we have a quite number of highly active users, which is really impressive, where people dedicate several hours every day to our website. And I think this can be reached just by the fact that you treat them as they are. I mean, they're kind of your family. And I mean, we have one person being completely dedicated just to the community management, and I spend a lot of time as well to deal with user inquiries, because it's very important to take the people serious, and we answer every email. So it's really our intention to implement new ideas and give them feedback. And I think that makes people more active, because they have the idea that it's, as I mentioned in my presentation, it's a little bit about the prosumer. It's not the consumer who just consumes, but it's like a mixture between being the producer and the consumer at the same time. So giving them the feeling, and we are implementing that, of really implementing ideas and suggestions from users. I think that makes user activity and creates user loyalty as well.
Mm-hmm. Remarkable. It is. Let's talk a bit about the classic language teacher in communities. The one-on-one teaching is done by other community members in form of language exchange. Where do you think will be the place of a language teacher in the future, as the asynchronous part of language learning is getting more and more interactive and challenging, and most questions can be answered by community members, etc.?
I'm not sure. I don't think that we can replace the professional language teacher. I don't think at all. I think what we are able to offer right now at Busuu.com is kind of interactive and fun and flexible form of language learning, still in the form of individual learning and with the combination of practicing directly with a native speaker, like if you would go into a pub and speak English with people, with native speakers over there. But what we cannot do is, and it's not our intention, is to replace the personal feedback and the personal guidance a professional language teacher can give to the students. I just feel that like the whole industry, and I'm new to this industry, but this industry is changing a lot, and I mean, you show it all the time on your blog that, I mean, it's really something revolutionary going on. So I feel that probably in the education of language teachers, the online teaching needs to be absolutely essential and a crucial part of the curriculum. So I think that the future language teacher, he will have his offline teaching activity, but he will definitely have to be as well among the teaching platforms and being able to teach his skills as well on online platforms.
And I think that is the fascinating part, that we are actually in the middle of everything that is moving and changing at the moment. So
absolutely.
Let's move on to your marketing strategy, which I find pretty remarkable, as you branded the community around minority languages, and you already gave us the information that Busuu is the name of a language spoken in Cameroon by only 8 people. And you were partner of the UNESCO International Year of Languages in 2008. And your marketing campaign around the Silbugomero is not only got you a lot of eyeballs, I think, in the media across Europe, but, as you said, it also won a Silver Lion in Cannes. So is this all just marketing to be different from your competitors, or a real passion for languages, a common ground to build on a vital community of people who are passionate about learning and teaching languages?
I'm not sure that I'm able to repeat that nicely like you said it right now, but obviously, I mean, that's our intention definitely is to become a key reference for language learning, at least here in Europe, within the next year. I mean, that's our clear vision that, I mean, next year, within the next years, let's put it like this, that, I mean, if in 2 years somebody is thinking about learning Spanish, that apart from books and traditional schools and going abroad, Busuu.com simply comes to his or her mind. And in order to reach that, you just need to make noise. I mean, that's obvious. And we think that as I tried to explain before, that, I mean, so adding a story and something around this brand, I mean, we simply then can attract more people as well. But apart from the marketing effect of just having more users logged onto our website, I mean, the whole vision of, and that's what we put on our website as well, the whole vision of maybe one time being able to offer maybe even Busuu as a language on Busuu.com is something really fascinating. And every time when I see people logging on from developing countries, for example, from a lot of African countries, and then people from European countries or from the US are correcting their posts or making chats with them, I think it's simply exactly the revolution you were mentioning right now. I mean, 10 years ago, I think it was probably very difficult to get access to high quality learning material unless you're in a developing countries and you had the means and methods of this. But right now, we offer this completely for free to everybody around the world. And I think that's a little bit something where we want to develop our community, that you can learn as much as languages as there are out there, and we do something for the preservation of extinct languages. So you can be sure that the activity of the Silbugomero is not going to be our last activity in terms of nearly extinct languages.
I'm excited, and it will be amazing to see the development in the future. So another great tool, also marketing tool, of course, is the Busuu widget, which delivers a different flashcard set every day to your website or blog. And then there is the personal progress report, which reminds you of your language garden, and the Busuu certificate, which you receive after you complete the 25 learning units. And now your newest feature are the Busuu Berries. You mentioned it before, but could you tell us a little bit what this is about now?
Yeah, so the Busuu Berries are like a motivational system. So basically every time you do a learning activity, you get Busuu Berries, and you get different amount of Busuu Berries according to the activity. But you get Busuu Berries as well for the tutoring activities. So if you correct the writing post of somebody else, or if you make a Busuu talk with somebody else, you get the Busuu Berries. So the number of berries basically represent a little bit the activity level of each user. And after some time, you can exchange those Busuu berries into stars. So you get like the more berries you have, the more stars you have, and so on. And additionally, you get badges, and those badges either represent, which I like a lot, the fact that you had contributed a bright idea to the development of Busuu.com, or you're a very active corrector of other people's posts, or you have done several courses already, and so on. So I think it's very important. You mentioned the tribe word before, which I think is quite exciting. And in the community, it's exactly the same. We need to give the people the possibility to differentiate themselves from each other. And a tribe has certain means of jewelry and certain means of status as well. And I think that's very important. And today we introduced a ranking of the berries as well. So see among your friends, you see as well the ranking, how you're performing, and so on. And that's something which is, I think, just human. And people want to be competitive as well, and want to perform against somebody else as well. So I think that's something people need in the community. But I mean, the unique feature of this is really that you can send Busuu berries to your friends. So when you send a Busuu berry to your friend, he gets or she gets an email of the fact that she has received a Busuu berry, and so you transfer your berries. And I think that's, again, I think in a little bit in the mood. I mean, it's a small sign, but I think that makes it different. That you learn for yourself, you get something, you get a reward, but you can give it away as well. And that's what I like about this.
Exactly. So to learn, to achieve something for yourself, but also to share and maybe to encourage a friend. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Rosetta Stone recently launched their new Totally product, which is a combination of their classic Rosetta Stone course, live lessons with a language coach in a virtual classroom environment. And
what is Rosetta Stone?
Pardon?
What is Rosetta Stone?
You know that companies some might have heard of. Allow me one question about them. So and then this combination also to go in this community language learning direction. So how do you think this will or could affect Busuu and the other language learning communities?
Well, I personally think that Rosetta Stone, if you mean this CD-ROM company who produces, who used to produce the CD-ROM still the 80s.
I think we're speaking about the same company.
Okay, I wasn't sure. No, I think, definitely they have some nice products, but I simply think that it's a typical example of a player of an industry who hasn't brought that much innovation to the whole field. They basically were reproducing the whole CD-ROMs into different languages and sold them at the quite premium price, and supported the whole thing with millions of expenditures in marketing. I think it worked out for the last 20 years, and the shareholders are quite happy about that. But still, from an innovation point of view, what has been happening in the industry the last, let's say, year and a half has been just a revolution, and probably Rosetta Stone has noticed that as well. This was simply the fact why they launched probably as well now this Totally platform. I don't know it from inside. I've just seen it on the website, but I'm not sure. I think pricing-wise, as far as I understood, it's about $1,000 a year. I think that's quite an aggressive and high-price strategy, which I'm not sure whether this is going to work out. Because with Busuu, you can have language learning for €100 a year. So I'm wondering, which is the 10th of the price, and I don't think that our quality is that much different. And additionally, you have the native speaker to contact. I don't know. I mean, I cannot really say something about it because I haven't tried it by myself.
But very reassuring to hear that at least from your side, and of course you can only speak for Busuu and not for the other language learning communities, but at least for you there is not great concern. Okay. Good. So, as we are coming towards the end of this interview, let's talk a little bit about the future. The use of mobile phones in developing countries is growing exponentially, and for us Europeans, devices connected to the cloud are already playing an important role in our digital or connected lives. Are you, as Busuu, planning to offer mobile services in the future?
Yeah, we definitely agree that there is a huge market for mobile applications because as we now offer the flexibility of learning from wherever you are, if you have internet connection, I think it's absolutely very interesting to have the possibility to learn while you are sitting on the bus or in the metro. So yeah, for sure. Just be a little bit patient, and there should be soon the Busuu iPhone application.
Great. So, a personal outlook. Where do you see Busuu in 12 months from now?
Well,
I mean, where would you like to be, or in what direction are you heading?
I mean, obviously, I cannot tell all of our exciting plans because, as mentioned before, we need to surprise our community and renovate ourselves every day. But what I can say for sure is that we're going to add on new languages. Mm-hmm. So there will be a quite interesting amount of new languages being added on to our platform. We are just working right now on very interesting new functionalities, which is just going to increase even more the community feeling of Busuu.com and the learning experience as well. And I can definitely tell you that we are going to surprise you with some other new stuff in the next 12 months. So just, keep your patience and log on every day in order to make your language garden be green and grow.
I'll be patient. Nevertheless, I will ask you from time to time, I think. So, Bernhard, thank you very much for this very interesting and also personal look inside your company, Busuu, and not only for my viewers, but also for myself. It was a great pleasure. And I wish you and, of course, Adrian, all the best in the future. And thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah, thanks a lot as well. I've seen that the cat already went to sleep, so it was a pleasure for myself as well. And thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you, Bernhard.